Take a look at this beauty, will you? This is the feather stitch, and it's the squishiest stitch I have ever made. When doing it, it's a 1 row repeat and you just need an even number of stitches. Today I'm going to show you how to crochet the feather stitch, and in doing so I'm going to show you how to make a scarf from this feather stitch. For this project you're going to need 2 balls of 100 grams each double knit yarn, and it can be any yarn at all. Actually, you can use thinner or thicker yarn. Just make sure that your hooks are in correspondence with which size yarn you're going to use. But I used 2 8-ply balls and had this much left over, which I'm going to use for my tassels. You'll also need your hook, and I used a 5mm for this one, and I actually wish I used an even bigger one because it is a very thick stitch, so soft, and a larger hook would make it even more drapey. Now I have a second hook here because I need you to be careful with your chain, your starting chain. If you're quite new to the game, you might find that your starting chain is quite tight and you can't really get the stitches in very well. So all you need to do to change that is increase the size of your hook. So go up to a 5.5mm. Otherwise, when you're a little bit more experienced, you can use your 5mm hook, but know to make the chains big enough so they don't scrunch in your work at the very beginning. For this project, I'm using US terminology, and I start my work with a movable slip knot. To make this scarf, I used 28 chains, so we need an even amount. I will do 20 chains this time, just for the purpose of the exercise. So pop your yarn end in your right hand, wrap a loop around 2 fingers on the left and pull that loop up through the centre. Now keeping a nice relaxed hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over and pull through to make your chain. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 17, 18, 19 and 20. Now we have 2 rows that I call setting up rows. The first one is doing a half double crochet into the back bump of each of these chains. We're going to start in the second chain from the hook, not including the one on your hook, counting 1 and 2. So yarn over, pop your hook into that back bump, yarn over, pull a loop through, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops, and that's your half double crochet. Yarn over, hook in, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all the loops. Yarn over, hook in, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all the loops, and keep on going until you get to the end with your half double crochets. Finding the back bump in the very last chain is a little bit tricky. Okay, there's our first row done. Now we're going to chain 1. The chain 1 throughout is not counted as a stitch. Turning your work, we're now going to do half double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, half double crochet, chain 1, skip 1. So this is our second setting up row. So yarn over, hook into the stitch below, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3 stitches, chaining 1, skipping 1 stitch, yarn over, hook in, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all the stitches, chaining 1, skipping 1. Do a half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet, chaining 1, and so on until the end. I'm up to my last stitch, hook in, making a half double crochet, now chaining 1 and turning your work. This is where the fun begins. We start doing the actual feather stitch. So what we need to do is start off the row with a half double crochet in this first stitch here. It's this little horizontal stitch, okay? It's on the left hand side of that first half double crochet. So yarn over, hook into that little space, pull a loop through, yarn over, pull through all the stitches, chain 1. Now we start with our feather stitch. We yarn over. Actually, just let me show you where we're going to go first. We're going to work into this space here, and then we work into the stitch that's directly below the space, and then we work into the next space. So we've got 3 points at which we pick up a loop. So starting with a yarn over, pop your hook in that large space below, pulling up a loop. So elevating those stitches. Yarn over, take your hook down and go through the stitch which is directly below that large space. Pull up a loop and lift that stitch. Yarn over and now go into the next space to the left of where you're working. Pulling up a loop. You should have 7 loops on your hook. We're going to yarn over and pull through all those stitches, yarn over and chain 1. So there's your first feather stitch. Now we're going to go into this space here, then we'll go into the stitch directly below, and then we'll go into the space on the left. So yarn over, hook into the large space, pulling up a loop. Yarn over, hook into the small space below the large one, pulling up a loop and elevating it. Yarn over, hook into the next large space on the left, elevating your stitches. Yarn over and pull through all your stitches, yarn over, chain 1. Can you see what's starting to happen here? Yarn over, hook in the next large space, pulling up a loop. Yarn over, hook in the little space below, pulling up a loop. Yarn over into the space on the left hand side, pulling up a loop. Yarn over, pull through all the stitches, yarn over, chaining 1. Let's do that again. Yarn over, hook in this large space, pulling up a loop. Yarn over, hook in the stitch below the large space, pulling up a loop. Yarn over, hook into the large space on the left, pulling up a loop. Yarn over, pulling through all the stitches, chaining 1. Look at this, that's looking really pretty. I'm surprised I haven't used this stitch before now because it's really lovely. It's so squishy and soft, perfect for scarves and blankets too. Now for the end, popping my hook in the large space, pulling up a loop. Yarn over, hook in the stitch below, pulling up a loop. Yarn over. Here it's a little bit tricky. What there is a half double crochet with a starting stitch on the left hand side of it. So you have to kind of find the middle ground between that half double crochet that you made and the turning chain. All right, so here is our turning chain. I'm going to pop my hook in between the turning chain and the half double crochet, pulling up a loop, yarn over, pull through all the stitches, chaining 1. Now I'm going to do a half double crochet into that very last stitch. So yarn over, hook in, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all the stitches. Chain 1 and turn my work. There we go. Look what we did. It looks really nice, doesn't it? Righto, to start off the next row, we're going to do that same half double crochet into this little horizontal stitch here. You've already done a chain one. Do a half double crochet into that little stitch and chain one. Now we start the feather stitch. Yarn over, hook into this space here below, pulling up a loop. Yarn over. Now you go down into this small space below. It's not the same as going into the stitch below that we used on our first row of feather stitch. So you will see it sitting here. Let me show you. You've got this large space that we just used. Then here you have a smaller opening, which is really quite obvious. So that's the one we want to work into. So yarn over, hook down into that smaller space, pulling up a loop, yarn over, and now we go over to the left and we work in between the two feathers that we made. So you've got your feather stitch here and your feather stitch here. We're going to pop our hook in between the two and pull up a loop. Yarn over, pull through all the stitches, chain one. Let's go again. You can see here that second little space is very obvious for us this time. Actually, all three are. We're going in here, here, and here. Yarn over, hook in, pull up a loop. Yarn over, hook in, pull up a loop, yarn over, hook in, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all the stitches, chaining one. It's almost like a triangle, working here, here, and here all the time, okay? Below in the big space, below in the smaller space, and to the left in between the feathers. Yarn over, popping our hook in, pulling up a loop, yarn over, hook in, pull up a loop, yarn over, hook in, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all the stitches, chaining one. All right, I am just going to do a few stitches so you can watch what I do. Into the big space, into the smaller space, and into the space on the left. Big space, small space, space on the left. All the while trying to lift your stitches and give them some height. Big space, little space, space on the left, pull through all the stitches, chain one. Big space, little space, space on the left, which is a bit tricky to find when you're at the end, but if you open up your work, just pull it out, you'll be able to see that there is the feather and there is the space. Yarn over, pull through all the stitches, chain one. Now here's this little tricky bit. We have to try and find the middle of the half double crochet on the right and the chain one on the left. So popping your hook in, making a half double crochet, and now chaining one, getting ready to turn. There we go. I think it's looking so lovely. It looks particularly lovely with variegated yarn, where all the colours can just really show themselves off. All right, just one more start again. We've done a chain one, which doesn't count as a stitch. Yarning over, we're going to go into this horizontal stitch here and make a half double crochet, chain one. Then we start our feather stitch. Into the big loop, into the smaller loop, into the left-hand side loop. pull your loops through and chain 1. Big loop, smaller loop, left hand side loop, pull through, chain 1. And a half double crochet at the end. There we go. Just go slow and steady and just look for those spaces that you need to work into, and then you'll be absolutely fine. Now, to make this feather stitch into this beautiful scarf, what you need to do is start off with at least 28 chains. This scarf is 203 centimetres long, but you can change your length, of course. It's 22 centimetres wide. For me, it could have been a little bit thinner, but I thought I was doing it for a man. Now, I am going to pop some tassels at the end of this, so I'll show you how I'm going to make those right now. I need to call this a fringe because they're not tassels, they're fringes. So just grab yourself a book or a CD case or anything you can find that you feel like would give you the right length for your fringe. Then you need to just wrap your yarn without stretching it out, keeping it at a nice ease around and around and around. I'm not counting for this first lot. I'm just going to make a whole bunch because I have got both ends of the scarf to use them for. All right, you get the drift. The beauty about using a book is you can fit your scissors in here just nicely. So I'm going to snip these off. Firstly, I'll snip that working yarn off, and then I'll try my best to work along the middle. Take that book away. All right. Now we need to decide how many we want our little fringe to have in each section. 1, 2, 3, 8 maybe. 8 looks all right. Now we're going to have to weave these into the top of the half double crochet. So the first row we did of half double crochet, I'm going to put them into the top of that stitch. When working into the top of your scarf, it's a little bit different than the bottom. Along the bottom we were using the half double crochet row. This time we've got some spaces in between the stitches that we can use, and that would make life a lot easier. So laying that down, yarning over and pulling through that lovely space that's available to us. Now all I need to do is pull that through and we're done. There we go. That looks good. Righto, I'll see you really soon when I'm at the end of all my fringing. Picking up your lengths of yarn, folding it in half, pop your hook into the space where you want it to go. Pop that yarn on your hook, give it a bit of a twist so it doesn't come off. Pulling it through, and now either with your fingers or your hook, pull those yarn lengths through and then tighten up, okay? Nice and firm. One more time. Got our yarn. I've got a little loop on the end, and this is my last one. Hook in the space, picking up that yarn, pulling it through. Pull the little yarn lengths through the loop and tighten up. And there we go. Nice and easy. Much easier than doing tassels. Tassels do my head in, but fringe I can manage. I really, really like the fringe. There's 12 separate ones along each end. Now they virtually need a comb or a brush to get them straightened out enough to trim the edges. Look, I'm not going to be too pedantic about this. I'll just do the best I can do and be happy with that. Yeah, there's a few stragglers there. I would so love to know and be keen to see if you make a feather stitch scarf as well. It's a really, really enjoyable project and it doesn't take very long either. I will bid you farewell until the next one. See you soon, everyone. Bye for now.